live. This is going to be an awesome show today. Scott, welcome back.
It's good to be back, Lynn. It's good to be back. I love doing events and I love going places and doing the things that I do. But there's things that I don't like missing, and this show is one of them.
Oh, well, you know what? This is going to be such a fast hour that I'm going to do this as I'm bringing everybody up, and then I got 3 things to talk to you about.
Listen,
here we go.
I'm sure I got in trouble while I was gone.
Here we go. I'm popping everybody up like popcorn.
Check this out. We got book after book after book.
Yeah.
And excellent.
These are just some of our friends, and then we can't forget this one right here. There we go. Farm Girls at a Boat. There's some really good stuff. Hey, you guys, welcome and thank you for all being here. Love all of you guys. Oh, we saw Rex for just a second, and that's okay. But hey, there's 3 things I want to talk about Scott first, because we missed him last week. But first, you did a wonderful event, and you did this picture for.
Well, that was I was able to present Dog with a portrait or painting I did of him. And he was happy. He liked it very much. And, he said he was going to draw a picture of me one day. Of course, that would probably be a stick figure. But he enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time, and he was a great ambassador for helping people. And that's what he does with his life. I mean, we don't agree on every little thing, but I'll tell you this. One thing we do agree on is everybody deserves a second chance. And Dog's a proponent of that. So
I love that.
Definitely
and then,
in his corner.
And we're moving this really quick here. And then after this hour, and then a half an hour break, go potty break, go get a snack. And you can't miss this. Scott has another podcast tonight. The Art of Relaxation.
The Holistic Evolution podcast with me and Kelly. Tonight we're talking about the art of it. What we're doing is we're talking about holistic modalities and all the great things you could be doing instead of just turning to drugs, turning to the old standards. There's 1,000 things you should do before you pop a pill in your mouth. And there's so many things that people aren't aware of. And I know all of you guys are experienced at that and have done some of that. And again, I applaud my friend Scott for doing the surgery and saying no to every drug that they pass at you. So that's really important to me. It's near and dear to my heart. And my thank you to my friends up in New Jersey who put this podcast actually goes out on cable television in New Jersey as well. So my thanks to my friends up there.
Love it. And last but not least, you guys, I'm really proud and I want to congratulate for 18 years. 18 years, Scott.
Oh, okay. I don't talk about that a lot, but yeah.
No, but we're going to talk about what's 18 years.
I celebrated 18 years of sobriety yesterday.
Wow.
So I do appreciate it.
Go.
Yeah. So, see, that was the 1, 2, 3 punch for you.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Take 1 week off and look what happens.
I know. I'm going to go away for 2 weeks when I come back.
I was going to say, maybe you should leave more often, Scott.
No, I love you guys. Thank you so much. I don't celebrate the anniversaries in a big way, only because I don't think I need to celebrate being a decent human being, because I certainly did not celebrate being an awful human being. So, but I do. I dedicate myself to trying to help other people. That's all I can do. You guys are huge, in my world and in what you do, and every one of you guys, the way you guys operate, the way you guys give back, and the way you guys live your lives is a testament to what people should be doing with their lives. Is certainly being successful on your own, but you do that through being of service to others, and it means the world to me. So thank you guys for all being here, and thank you for the kind stuff. But let's not talk about me anymore, because I don't like this.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I'm uncomfortable now. I feel like I should be like, I haven't even written a freaking book yet. All right, come on, leave me alone.
Well, you become around the people you hang out, so you are in the good company here. So let's just say that. And now I want to acknowledge Rex really quick, that he's going to be in the the Tribune is doing a neuroscience, whatever, I forget, but he's going to be part of that. And I was going to bring the little thing up here, but I didn't. So, but anyhow, just welcome everybody. I'm just so glad you guys are here. And I love the topic that Scott picked today for letting go things that don't serve you. So I'm going to just turn the baton to Scott, and I'm going to sit back here for a minute.
It was something that I was taught a long time ago, and this is this is a quote from Buddha, but it's not based in a religious belief of mine, but it's just in a thought belief. Is that letting go is not about forgetting. It's about remembering without fear, and it's about not, because some people mistake. They think letting go of things means you have to erase them from your mind and erase them from your lives, but then you get no lessons from them and you get nothing from them. Letting go is about no longer living in a situation, no longer living in a bad space, remembering that space, but no longer having fear of it either, and allowing it to be a lesson to move forward with. So letting go of bad people, bad influences, letting go of bad situations, letting go of bad habits that we have, that used to be comforting, but that no longer serve us. Are we letting go of the stuff that serve us? Because we can only hold so many things in our hands. And if you're holding on to all the bad stuff, you can never allow any good stuff in. You got to drop a few things to get some good stuff. But letting go, I just wanted to make sure I made that distinction because that's important for me in my life. If I were to erase everything I did in my past, I would go back out and try drinking again. And I'd try drugging again. And I'd try doing all those things again. And I know I can't because I look back and it serves me to remember, but it doesn't serve me to live in it anymore, to let it go. So that's why it was important for me to bring that up. But, I see a lot of people trying to build a future and hold on to their past at the same time. It's if nothing else, it's amusing to watch people try to do it, but it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So if anybody wants to pick up on that thought process, I would appreciate that.
Well, Mr. Rex.
As soon as he unmutes himself.
Yeah, I'm the guy that's involved with something somewhere at some time, according to Lynn. And
what I got from her is that they're going to experiment on your brain in the newspaper. That's what I got.
Something like that. I'm involved with something. No, it's great to be here with such an honored and esteemed panel. I would invite you, Scott, to let go of not celebrating yourself the way you ought to, and to let go of not celebrating your sobriety and those kinds of things. That's an awesome reclaim. You claimed back your life. You're a living example of what's possible, and you should be doing a happy dance and letting people know it. I don't mean egotistically, obviously. You can be as humble as you want to be, and I know that you appreciate what you've done and accomplished, but don't dismiss it. You deserve all of it. You deserve all the good that you get from it, and so allow yourself to truly own that and feel that and let us celebrate with you, because it's like turning down compliments, like no, don't buy me lunch, but you are such an awesome person, such a kind, giving, loving, generous person with yourself, and you're an example to so many people. So please, if you get up on the rooftops and shout, I'm right there with you. I think that's a powerful place to be.
Thanks, Rex. I'll pay you later.
Thank you.
You talking to me?
I appreciate that. I really do.
No, I think. Well, I said my piece, but absolutely. I also just to contribute to what you brought up in terms of letting go but not forgetting. Some people use that as like, I will forgive you, but I will never forget. So don't expect me. And that's not truly letting go at all. That's hanging on to something. Right. And what you said is to be able to let go of the fear, or let go of, some of the connotations or the energy behind it, and still keep the lesson. So it's one thing. I mean, you can say, I've been conned a lot of times in my life, and I've always gone, cool. Oh, wow. Did I learn a big lesson there? I wasn't necessarily happy the moment it happened, but the point is I remember those, but they were blessings in my life. As opposed to being something, even the most horrible people that have led me, in whichever way, whether they were in relationship with me or whatever, or I led them, they're all valuable. I think there's a couple of different ways to look at the world. One is you have free will and free choice, and you can do whatever you want. And the other is you have no free will and no choice, and it's all ordained or predestined. So whichever one you choose, if it's predestined, everything that you've done and your will do is there. It's all laid out for you. So why complain about it? Why not just go, this is cool. This is my journey. It's all this roadmap that I get to do. And if it's all based on choice or partly on choice, then guess what? We make all these wonderful choices to have this incredible adventure that includes highs and lows and ups, and good stuff and not so good stuff. And if we can learn from it and live and love and laugh and celebrate things in spite of all of it, then you're doing a good thing. So with that, I will pass the mic, but I celebrate you and the other esteemed members here. Thank you so much for allowing me this space.
Thanks,
Love
Rex.
you, Rex.
Thank you, Rex.
Who wants to go next? I'm just gonna pick.
Rex always creates this like little chasm of, do I want to follow Rex? It's always that thing.
You know what? I feel like the Canon camera thing. I'm just going. Ta-da!
Oh, you're just gonna pop people up? Oh, there you
So
go.
am I guessing I'm next?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. I appreciate that. So, well, first of all, I wholeheartedly agree with Rex. Scott, you need to celebrate that, because that is momentous in so many different ways. And the other side of it is that's an inspiration to others as well. I learned a lesson a long time ago. Was at lunch with Zig Ziglar, and somebody wanted to pick up the entire lunch, and so they did. They paid for my lunch and Zig's and everybody else's, and somebody went, "This is Zig Ziglar. Why are you picking up his lunch?" And Zig just turned to me and said, "Why would I deny him the pleasure of being able to give me a gift?" And it's that same kind of thing. Why would you deny people the pleasure of congratulating you? So just another way to think about it from that
Well
side.
taken. Well taken. Absolutely.
And as far as this, letting go of things that don't serve you, the reality is that, we get full. Our mind share gets full. Every top of mind gets full. One of the best ways to write your book, Scott, by the way, get after it, is to brain dump. Because as soon as you dump everything out of your brain fills up again.
Right.
And you can dump again. And you can dump again. You don't write and edit at the same time. You simply dump and then go back and edit. It's different processes. Well, it's kind of the same thing in life. Sometimes you got to dump so that more can come in, and you got to dump. If you talk about you're the grand sum of the 5 closest friends around you. If you want to improve, you might have to get better friends. And the reality is, it's not mean to say, I want to achieve more, or I want to fulfill the capability that God's granted me. It's, hey, I see that there's more available, and therefore I don't want to waste what God's granted me. And in order to do that, I need to learn more, I need to grow more, and I need to be around people who have a similar desire or similar path in life. And so ultimately, I don't think that's, part of that is letting go of some of those things that don't serve you as well. And the reality is, when you look back at a career, and you might have been in corporate America and you learned all sorts of wonderful things, but your heart was saying you could accomplish more if you went out on your own, you became an entrepreneur, maybe you trained to become a speaker or a trainer. Well, you had to let go of some of those things that weren't serving you. They weren't fulfilling you to the level that God had put in your heart, or higher source, or whatever you might believe is the instigator of your process. And I truly believe God's plan and timing is perfect, and that all things work together for my good. And when you put that together in combination and you let that happen, people are there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And you release them and let them go with their heart and their dream. And that allows you to go with your heart and your dream. My 2 cents.
Very well put. Excellent. Lynn, you're just going to put somebody else on the spot now? It's just going to pop people up on random and make.
Yeah, come on, Lynn.
It's working. It's working. So
Do it.
yeah. Oh, you're going to do him again? Okay. Oh, there we go.
Well, I'm glad you did that because I actually wanted to piggyback off of what was just said. So thank you, Lynn. It's interesting, right? Because I feel like letting go is kind of a buzzword now. You know, like we hear it a lot. Learn to let go. Learn to let go. And I don't know if people fully understand, you know, what that means and what it's all about. And I think that sometimes the focus, especially in my work, right, where it's, you know, empowering people to heal and to grow and thrive, where people focus on the big stuff, right? Like letting go of the people, places, and, you know, patterns in our lives that are no longer serving us. But we can even practice letting go in each day-to-day moment, right? And I have to remind myself of that a lot too, because if I think about what letting go means, it's really about non-attachment, right? It's not attaching myself or tethering myself to any outcome or any expectation or any idea of what should or shouldn't happen. And I've struggled with that in my life, you know? And so I think about this moment to moment awareness of, like, the word that comes to mind a lot is oxygenating myself. And Scott, something that you said just made me think of that, which is, you know, when I'm holding on and I'm white knuckling life, right? And I certainly did for a really long time, white knuckling life. And that meant everything around me and everybody around me, right? Trying to be in control, trying to make everything be the way that I wanted it to be, trying to control every outcome and trying to control every person. Not only am I not giving myself space to be who I truly am, I'm not giving anybody else space to do that either.
Amen.
Right? I am trying to make other people be who I want them to be. I'm trying to make situations be what I think they should be instead of allowing it to organically unfold. So when I think about letting go, and, you know, there's an aspect of surrendering, there's an aspect of accepting things for what they really are right now in this moment, as opposed to what I want them to be or what I wish them to be or what I had expected them to be. And it's, to me, it's practicing that in every moment that allows me to then practice the bigger, you know, the bigger issues, right? Letting go of patterns that no longer serve me, letting go of, you know, people and places, the bigger things. But it's that moment to moment, just presence and just witnessing and observing, and really just letting everything be what it is. It's that, I don't know, that word oxygenate myself, and I can oxygenate everyone around me so that everybody has the ability to choose who they are and what they want and how they want to live their lives. Because who am I to say otherwise?
I love that.
Beautiful. Wow.
Speaking of another beautiful.
That is amazing. Oh, here I am. Oh, Kristy, that was good. I love that you said, like, letting go of expectations, because that's a huge one. And it's true if you're not, and also controlling situations instead of living in the moment, letting people be their organic self, you figuring out who you are. That was amazing. I love what everyone said so far. And I also want to say something to Scott, of course. 18 years ago, he let go of something that didn't serve him. And he's here today doing his thing. And it's an amazing journey he's been on to help other people. And I celebrate you, Scott. So proud of you. I'm proud of all of you on the screen here. I'm really honored to just be a part of it. But another thing I wanted to say is, in life, you know, letting go, you're right, Kristy, it kind of is a little overused, and Flo can tell you, I'm always saying, let it go, let it flow. That's for Flo.
Yeah.
You know, let it go. I mean, I just came home from yoga, you know, I'm letting it go, let it flow. But, you know, it's like, whether it's in our daily life, like you said, Kristy, if it's making unhealthy choices and even what we eat, if it's unhealthy, or for our mind, body, or soul, the things that we need to really be self-aware enough to look at our life and find out what is healthy for our mind, body, and soul. And the things that really aren't, we need to let go.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, beautiful.
Thank you, beautiful.
My turn.
You're on the hot seat, Barry.
Hey,
like
beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, handsome.
Oh boy, I can handle it. I'm sure. No, to follow on from what's been said, and I love what has been said. Boy, there's so much I want to say that's already been said. So what can I add to it? One of the things that I've learned over the years is that letting go is a whole lot easier the less attached. Something that I think Kristy said was that white knuckling is learning how to play where you have a high involvement but low attachment was a lesson I had to learn several times over, because I would get involved and then very attached to results, and we fixated on what's going to happen. And frankly, it was painful, because if it didn't go the way I wanted, I got upset. And if it did go the way I wanted, I'd feel like a relief, but not joyful. So living in the let go and being more fluid, just that flow thing is about Debbie, is another place of it too. One of the things I'll speak to also is, I remember hearing a long time ago that control, which is the opposite of letting go, is the master addiction. That when you want to be in control, it's being so locked in, and it becomes addicted to itself, because you almost become attached to that condition of being in control. Letting go requires one of the biggest things in life, trust. When you're willing to let go and being in the flow of what's happening in relationships, in business, in life itself, you got to trust there's something else going on. Kind of what Rex said. I think it was Rex who said this about that something bigger. No, was it Rex or Scott? One of the two was saying about how much something bigger going on. Being in that place where we can be comfortable enough that life is taking care of us as well as we're taking care of ourselves. So one of the biggest gifts of letting go, frankly, for me, is that I know something's playing bigger in my life. That I've got a relationship with spirit that I've worked on for many years that gives me a sense of faith and trust. It isn't religious based, but it's about being comfortable enough that if things don't work out, I'm okay with it. When they do work out, it's fun. So it makes life much easier. And there was one other piece that was coming through. Letting go of things that don't serve us, that piece. We have a bad habit as humans to be very fixated on things that don't work. It's almost like the news does that as well. The news is based on negativity because it draws in attraction. It creates more sales for the ads. So life is built that way. It's a negative framed life. So our focus when we are attached to that is we tend to get negative. So when we stop fixating things that don't serve us, guess what happens? We have room for things that do serve us. Right. But until we start letting go of what doesn't work, there's no room for anything else. So from my journey and my work is how to be more open to the possibility of the good stuff that can happen. So just a few thoughts, and I'll pass it back because I've got so much I can say, but I'm going to room for other people.
Thank you,
Barry. Thanks, Barry. Thank you.
I guess I'm next.
Hey, beautiful.
So we're going with the flow now.
Let's all go with the flow. Go with the flow.
Perfect timing.
I love you, Flo.
What comes to mind when letting go of things that don't serve us? A couple years ago, I inherited a lot of stuff from my mom, and I'm still buried, going under, just trying to get rid of the majority of her stuff, because the meaning of her stuff, she felt that was money, and but not me. There's brand new things, there's old things that she just held on to, because she held on to everything. So I'm learning to let go more and more. I really did learn how to let go. It was about 10 years ago when I was going through my divorce. Let go of a lot of things, let go of hurts, feelings, and everything. And so this just came to mind that when I forgave him for going through this divorce, it was not for him, but for me. And when I told myself, when I forgive, that was my way of letting go. And we used to have a saying with some of the moms that I would hang around when our kids were in school. It was whenever we were stressed out, our saying was, just give it to God. So I have, whenever I'm really in a bad place, I'll write down a few things that I just want to give to God, and just, I put them in like a little note or a little letter, and I have a box that I put it in the box and say, okay, God, I've released it. I've let go. It's now yours. So that was just what came to mind on my things of and how I don't want them to serve me anymore.
I love that's so
That's
vulnerable
awesome.
and it's so awesome. And yeah, like they say, let go, let God. So that's beautiful. I appreciate you
awesome.
sharing.
Thanks.
Now, last but not least, da-da-da-da.
Drum roll.
Well, my thoughts on this are this whole idea of letting go of things that don't serve us. We don't even realize the things that serve us and how they serve us in a negative way as well as a positive. For example, some of the people I've worked with might be going through an abusive relationship. And I'll say, how does that serve you to have that relationship? They'll say, it doesn't serve me. I say, well, it does. Or somebody says, I'm broke. How does it serve you to be broke? It doesn't. No, it does.
Mm-hmm.
The minute it doesn't serve you, you'll let go of it. But if you think that being in a negative relationship doesn't serve you, then try cutting out complaining about that person. Try cutting out not being broke, because those things people will come up and go, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you're getting sympathy, which is now serving to enforce that and to reinforce it. So I'm a big believer that, we have to look at the things that serve us, how they're serving us negatively, as well as the things that serve us positively. And then we have to make the adjustment accordingly.
Bob, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Because I see people constantly who are in situations or in habits or whatever it might be that certainly are having a negative impact, but they don't see the negative side of it because they embrace. I mean, somebody in an abusive relationship, which I've unfortunately have experience with, somebody in an abusive relationship will stay in that relationship, and it's because part of that is being served by that.
Right.
And until you figure out why I'm being served by negativity, why I am doing that, it'll never stop. And it's an inside job, certainly. It's not a matter of looking at things around you and assigning a value to them as much as it is assigning what value do I have and what do I want in my life. And if we want to be punished, we'll put ourselves in punishing situations. If we want to be miserable, we'll put ourselves in miserable situations.
Right.
But at that point in time when you want to be free of those things, it's time, like Flo said, pull out the God box, start turning it over. But I'm going to warn everybody that people forget something. People forget. They always go, I'm going to let it go. I'm just going to give it to God. I'm going to let it go. Whenever you let go of something, you're always picking up something else. So if I'm going to let go of my hatred, if I'm going to let go of my anger, I need to pick up love and care. If I'm going to let go of my resentments, I need to pick up thoughtfulness and philanthropy. I've got to do those things. And so, because if you don't, the negative will creep back in because that's what we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But Bob, that's a great point. If you examine, it's easy for everybody to sit around and bitch and moan. As a matter of fact, I used to go to my father about my marriage and say, this is horrible. I can't get out of it. And one day my father says, shut up. And I thought, well, aren't you a nice guy? Aren't you a nice guy? Here I'm coming to you. I'm telling you. And he goes, every time you come, you tell me the same problem, but you don't want to do anything about it. You like complaining about it. You like living in it. So shut up and live in it.
Yeah.
That's when I said, I don't want to live there anymore.
Right.
My quick 2 cents after Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
No, I was just going to say to Bob's point, one of the exercises that we do, one of the coaching processes I do, is the question becomes, what are you pretending not to know?
Yeah.
And, so with what Bob's saying there, you're stuck in what's a troubling or disappointing situation. Well, I've got my marriage is going. Well, what are you pretending not to know? Well,
Yeah,
that
I
it's
love that.
actually, oh, wait. And all of a sudden it calls that top of mind. And as soon as you get it top of mind, you can process it out. It's actually an 8-question process, but that's, I think, about the 3rd question in that process. It's pretty amazing. And
People don't mention that willful ignorance often enough, I think.
Yeah.
Because we have this willful ignorance to keep ourselves stuck. The truth is, the reason I got stuck, I stayed stuck for so long, I didn't want responsibility. And as long as I was a victim of everything around me, I didn't have to be responsible for anything. So as long as I was miserable and everybody was against me and my life sucked, I didn't have to be responsible.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
Willful ignorance.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to add that letting go to me is letting go the emotional attachment and the change. and then detaching from the emotion, but then to change your perspective of those things in your past and to look at the good things in the bad situation and look at the blessings out of it. That's what's helped me with letting go. You know, and so that's what serves me, because like you said, I release that, and what I bring back is the good things, that, you know, the lessons, it could have been worse, you know, like even when I had my house fire, we lost everything, but had we not left 15 minutes before, it could have been worse because my daughter was down there. I mean, you just have to say, hey, you know, we are all safe. And, you know, you just have to let go of a lot of things and look at what really matters in a lot of things in life. And so that's the replacement there. I think Rex has something to say.
When does Rex not have something to say? Is the question.
Bring it.
Love you,
I
Rex.
I like how Rex went to the subtlety of just raising one finger. And
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
he has something to say. It's the one finger.
I'm glad it wasn't the other finger.
If we ignore this one long enough, the other one will come out.
Sorry, I broke the finger, but in India, this is the same as the other.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so
Now we know what he means.
all how you apply it, I guess. Now, I have a few things I'd like to offer, and one is because there's been so many wonderful, powerful shares, and I want to go back through some of them. But you know, first off, we kind of assume the role of God when we do things. You know, we whether you believe in God or not. The point is, we don't know, but a tiny sliver of anything that's going on at any given second. I mean, the trillions amounts of data impinging on just our eyeballs alone, or our ears, or not to mention all the different things that are going through our head and our body and our feelings. We don't know what reality is. We only know that little sliver that we call reality, and then we assume that that's truth because that's what we're familiar with, and really we're not, you know, very qualified to determine that that's truth. So what that means is that I mean, if you think of it like, here's a TV set, there's a TV set and what you're focused on, and then there's everything else but the television set. And what we do is focus on what's on the TV, kind of, you know, or what's on the news, or what's in our life, or what's important to us, that shiny object, and don't know that there's all sorts of good and all sorts of other things surrounding us that we would never ever get to experience if we don't open ourselves up to it. That's one of the arguments about the reticular activating system, and whether we notice things or don't notice things based on what's important or what has signal value to it. So we don't really ever intersect with reality. We just think we do. And so there's just so much more. But when it comes to awareness, letting go, for example, you know, I was going to say earlier, you know, and Scott, I think you mentioned it, but you mentioned it in a different way that I was going to. Most people, they let go of something, they let go of an attachment to one thing and they attach to something else. Not necessarily, as you pointed out, you know, if you're going to let go of, say, selfishness, then you know, focus on giving or compassion or service. But a lot of people like let go of one spouse and then remarry that spouse in somebody else's body with a, you know, different hairstyle. We just reattach the same things oftentimes because we're not aware of our attachments and of our choices. And so there's the concept of choiceless awareness, which means you don't choose. And I'm sure all of the panel is, but if the audience isn't, if you're familiar with the story, maybe yes, maybe no, is an old like Sufi mystic story about the gentleman farmer who had a horse, or had horses, and the horse ran away, and all the townspeople came to him and said, "Oh, God, how horrible, your horses run away." And they said, "This is truly bad for you." He goes, "Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, you know, who knows? We shall see." And then his son goes out and finds the horse and brings it back. And they go, "Oh, wow, this is so wonderful. Look, you got your horse back. Isn't that incredible?" He goes, "Well, maybe yes, maybe no, who knows, really? We shall see." And then while taking care of the horse, the son breaks his leg, and everybody comes to him and says, "Whoa, my God, how horrible, you know, your son broke his leg. This is so terrible. I can't believe, you know, your misfortune." He said, "Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, who knows? We will see." You know, and then the country goes to war, and so the army comes through and they're conscripting everybody, but the son has a broken leg, and so he doesn't go to war because they get everybody else who's able-bodied, and they go, "Wow, this is just a blessing. Look, your son didn't have to go to war. This is truly wonderful for you." He goes, "Well, maybe yes, maybe no. We shall see." You know, And the point being is that, you know, we're so quick to assign a value to something, whether good or bad or right or wrong, depending on what we think at that moment. And the story certainly illustrates that anything could be a blessing, anything could be a curse,
Right.
you know, and rather than holding it, you know, as what we think it is, let's be open, let's be choiceless in it, and understand that there's just so much, you know. The other way to think of the world is just no matter what's going on, there's infinite goodness, even in the not so goodness. There's just infinite goodness, you know. And so if you stop on the problem and focus on that, then guess that's what takes predominance in your head. And if you stop on the goodness, somebody would say, well, you're ignoring all the other stuff that's going on in the planet, you know. And you go, it is what it is. You address what you can address without being attached to the outcome of it. So if you're dealing with, you know, somebody who's got a drug addiction and you're trying to help them, you help them without being attached to whether or not they succeed or whether or not they fail. You know, you just do what you do in order to get hopefully the result that you expect or hope to get. But if you don't, you have to let go of everything. And their addiction, maybe yes, maybe no, you know, we shall see.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is. So
that's amazing. That was
I
a
love that.
wonderful share.
If we only did things we knew we were going to succeed at, nothing would ever get done.
Get done, yeah.
True enough.
Absolutely. So
Scott
Scott
Jonesy, you laughed kind of hard when he said just you get out of one marriage and you marry someone else with a different body and hairstyle.
True story.
I don't know if there's something there for
True story.
Jonesy.
I went from Irish Italian girl to Italian Irish girl. I just
if I can jump in, I've never had but the same problem over and over and over again in different circumstances, different events, and different people. It's always been pretty much the same thing. It just seems like it's different things, but it's always something, and that's whether you feel like you deserve it or whether you feel like you're loved or whether you love the world or whatever. But it's just the same thing. It's the universe gives you the same lesson over and over again, it seems like, until you finally go, oh, okay.
That's right.
So Scott,
what resonated with you, Dr. Kristy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, one thing that keeps coming up too, and this is related, I think, a little bit to what everybody is saying, but and Barry said this too about trust. Fear closes cells and trust opens them.
Yeah.
And so if we think about wanting to, you know, have access to our free will and our ability to make choices, right, and our ability to see possibilities, then we've got to be, you know, I look at it, right, I can talk about it spiritually and I can talk about it, right, like neurologically and physiologically, right? And it's like, if we think about what happens to the body in a state of fear, we go into contraction. And then we're locked in to the patterns. We're locked into all of those defense mechanisms. We're locked into those narratives and those behaviors that we've carried with us in order to keep us safe. You know, at one point in our lives, a lot of the patterns, for instance, that we're trying to let go of, at one point, they served us by keeping us safe, right? Because the nervous system only cares about keeping us alive and safe, right? Is this going to keep us alive or is this going to kill us? You know, it's that black and white in a sense, right? And that's why the brain is primed to be negative, right? It's all about survival. So, you know, we think about the things that we want to let go of, but if we're in this state of fear and contraction, we're going to stay tethered to those narratives and to those patterns, because at one point that was the only way that we could be safe. You know, even, you know, I worked for years at a hospital in Westchester that was focused on, we started their harm reduction program for people who had dual diagnosis. And, you know, the whole idea behind harm reduction was that we have to understand that people are using whatever the thing is, the drug, the alcohol, the practice, the behavior, whatever, as a way to self-medicate, right? As a way to help themselves, as a way to heal themselves, because they don't know any other way, right? So if you just tell them, stop, don't do that, and you take away the only thing they know how to use, right? Well, what's going to happen, right? So it's sort of that same idea. Like, we also have to understand that we're wired a certain way, and some of these practices and patterns that we're holding on to are really stemming from this place of fear. And as long as we're in fear, we're going to be in contraction cellularly. And that means we're going to keep imprinting of trauma, for instance, stuck in our cells. That means we're losing that state of flow. You know, we talked about flow. So it's really all connected. But I kept going back to that in my head as some of you were talking about, you know, fear closes cells, and it's trust that allows everything to open.
That's awesome, Kristy.
Jonesy, want to start wrapping up with Scott?
I think Rex.
Okay,
Rex is giving you the finger.
Giving us the finger.
I want to say something because that's profound and it's beautiful. And there's I think there's a caveat in that sometimes is missed, and I don't for the second think that you've missed it, Doctor. But I just want to draw it to the audience attention. Is it fear? The physiological response to being afraid is that survival mechanism. So things shut down. In other words, the blood is just taken from the thinking cap and put in the extremity so you can fight or you can flee. You know, there's your ability to make decisions is impaired because, you know, your peripheral vision shuts down so you can go there. That's the way to get out of here. And so you're focused in a particular fashion. However, I think it's a mistake to say fear shuts us down, because if you've ever been walking at nighttime and something scares you, all of a sudden your senses become extremely heightened. You become super aware and you notice every little thing. So you're actually kind of hyper vigilant as opposed to being, you know, contracted. It's what happens after the fear where a person entertains the conversation in their head that they go down the rabbit hole and they contract. The actual mechanism of fear is you know, it's good. We have an alerting system that lets us to survive so that we can continue to thrive. But we get caught up and we perpetuate the moment. And then that's where the contraction occurs. So if you're entertaining the same thought over and over and again, you're going to continue to go down it. Whereas if you use it the other way and become more aware, then you can be free from it. So it is. It's really, you know, it's utilitarian. It's just which way what happens after that moment. So I appreciate everything that you said, but we sometimes think, well, fear is bad, but it truly is not. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's the interpretation that the brain makes of that sensation. Yeah, absolutely.
Love that.
Absolutely.
We're gonna. Jonesy, want to wrap it up and have Scott?
What we'll do is we'll start the wrap ups now, give everybody a chance to get some final thoughts in. And
Barry was giving you the finger.
I'm glad Rex understands the concept of not trying to control everything.
He's the center square. Barry, did you want to
we all just follow along.
I did if there's time. Yeah, thank you for that, Rex. No, I was going to say something before we did the wrap up because it might be relevant to everyone.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
First of all, what's been shared has been incredible today. I'm loving what's been talked about today. And one thing that came up was mentioned a few times, and I'll speak more into this, which is about the thing called forgiveness, because I do a lot of that in my work. The thing about those things that don't serve us oftentimes are those things we carry around in ourselves, which isn't about what happened out there. It's what we carry inside, whether it's guilt, upset, hurt feelings, woundedness, judgments, blame, all that stuff we carry around because of anything that happened in our lives. That becomes ammunition we keep shooting ourselves with. And the way out of that in my work has been forgiveness, because forgiveness is a tool that people unfortunately think, because of the way that religion teaches us, you go to 70 times 7 and you think of other people that don't know what they do, all that crap. Forgiveness, though, is a self-applied vehicle to free ourselves from the prison we put ourselves in. I've recommended this book many times by Richard Buck called Running from Safety. That's the book. If you get back to read the book, it's a great book. And the thing is, what he talks about in the book is that he has this judgment and blame about himself that imprisons his inner child. And when he does the forgiveness work, when he finally gets that it's about letting himself off the hook, his inner child gets free. And the thing is, all of us carry that ability to free ourselves when we are willing to get off our high horse and be gentle with ourselves and let go of the judgments, because judgments are things we sometimes use to be righteous, to be like, I'm right, they're wrong. Well, the thing is that righteousness is like wounding ourselves. It can be cancerous almost. So to forgive ourselves is a blessing, but it's also a healing agent. And frankly, letting go of things that don't serve us, those judgments absolutely go in that bucket.
Mm.
Yeah.
Love that, Barry. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Beautiful,
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
beautiful. That's wow. I
Okay.
know hipster. I'm gonna put hipster on the spot.
Hipster.
It's so. I'm honored to be here. I mean, what a great share by everybody tonight and all that. As Rex was talking about fear and that part coming in fear. I mean, fear is having to put yourself in an imagined future, and because it's that imagined future, you get to create it however you want. Unfortunately, most people don't create it very well. They create the negative side of it and all that, just in support of what all has already been said. I mean, there's been a lot of genius shared here tonight. Again, just honored to be part of it. The fact is, everybody's got their own portion of what this topic means to them.
Yeah.
We tend to get in patterns until there's a pattern interrupt. Way too cliched, but until somebody calls it to your attention that says, you do realize your third ex-wife looks exactly like the first two. You know, so the point is that it's not about you, Jonesy. Don't take that personally. I didn't put your name on it, or no. But the point is that really this whole topic is how do you keep on? Again, a concept I share a lot is high intention, low attachment. If you really want to continue to move forward in life, it's having that high intention of imparting something great, doing something great, serving something great, being something great. And a low attachment is how that get accomplished. It really ain't how I got there. Not that big a deal. Again, that's why it's such an honor to be part of this group, because there's so many great shares, all from slightly different perspectives and maybe said differently. I realize how little book knowledge I have every time I'm in this group. I mean,
life lessons.
No, I do. I've had my sorry, I almost said a bad word there. I've had my butt
Oh, it's
kicked.
fine.
I've had my butt kicked.
I don't think we've heard that before.
In fact, I've had my butt kicked so many times. Maybe I should write a book about it. Oh wait, I did. But it's out of those experiences. It's funny. I was sharing with somebody earlier today. It's all about life experiences. And experience is a great teacher. It's just a very expensive teacher. The point is, are you paying attention to the experiences? You make a mistake once, you're human. You make a mistake twice, you're stupid. You didn't learn from the first one. I mean, and it's not anybody does that purposely, for those of us who have had multiple marriages. So, you didn't try to do it multiple times. You thought the first one was going to work, or you wouldn't have gotten into it, more than likely. The point is that all of this is about how you take those life experiences and continue to grow. Life is about expansion. And every time you have a new experience, there's a new possibility for expansion. The question is, are you open to that expansion? Go from there.
Well, back in the day, they didn't have that Just Say No program. I was a little too late for that. On the marriages part.
My family figured out in my second marriage, my brother wrote "help me" on the bottom of my shoes. When I knelt down in church, everyone could see it. I didn't know it was
amazing.
He was right. He was right.
Oh my gosh. Scott, thank you so much for being here, Hipster. I know you got to leave here soon, so I love you.
Always an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Let's get everybody else's final thoughts before we run out of time. You guys are all such great people. We could do this for hours. You guys are brilliant. Scott's right. It's like amazing. Just we can all read the same thing, but come back with different interpretations that light each other up, and that's why it's important. I love people who they're so smart they don't want to have these conversations. Good for them. They can be by themselves. The enlightened people want to hear from other people. So it's really awesome. Debbie, what do you want to end with?
Yeah, so it just I you guys are amazing. Like anyone watching this now live or on repeat, like come on. Like, and just when I think Rex has been brilliant enough, he puts his finger up again and then he knocks himself down. And you know, Kristy's
And his
like,
glasses didn't fall off.
Dr. Kristy, she's got all this like good knowledge about the cells and all that. And then Rex is like, well, I have another thought about that. So I'm like, you guys are amazing. Hipster shooting from the hip. But Barry's always eloquently spoken. Bob, we always leave him for last because he's like the closer. But
Bob's like the silent Buddha on the hill. You know, we just wait for a word.
I know, but it's like you just know he's there, and when he's not here, you feel his absence. Isn't that the truth? So, but what I want to talk about is flow. It's always about flow. Let it go, let it flow. But no, I loved what you said, Flo, because we always have to remember that as we start talking about, and Kristy, Dr. Kristy said, holding on to things, people, situations, and all of that. But Flo's the only one that really touched on tangible stuff that sometimes we hang on to because maybe your mother felt like that was a treasure to her and she saved this and she loved it. But now you want to respect your mother's treasures, but they're not really your treasures.
Mm-mm.
And so now you're going through the process of allowing yourself to let that go. And it's okay. You know, it's okay. And it really hit me because I mean, even all of us, like if you're trying to get rid of like stuff out of your closet, it's like, but I really love this. I had my first date in that. And it's like, you're never going to wear it again. Toss it. Get rid of it. Give it to somebody who can use it.
Our
But anyway,
phones can take lots of pictures. So take a picture and it saves room and time.
Yeah. But I just appreciate what you said too, Flo, and the way that you said it. But the other part was I want to tell Scott, you're always talking about, oh, all you people wrote a book, whatever. Does that mean if you write a book, we have to paint? Because that's going to be bad. So
I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, everybody's always holding up their books. I got my paintings behind me. I'm the same.
We know.
I'm just the same way.
Exactly. There you go.
I'm a whore. It's all good. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't have a book.
That's my work.
I don't have a book either, Scott. So.
Oh, okay.
She's got Flow Jam.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to decorate the space where you're going to read, and she's going to give you something to eat. All right, so
exactly.
Because if you just have books, you will starve. Okay,
that's right.
And you got to have some crackle. Let me tell you. Oh man,
I'm done.
Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Who's next?
I'm gonna put Barry up.
There you go.
Okay. The last thought that came up for me, first of all, again, I want to say how incredible this conversation has been, and everyone here, all of us have been adding and building, so it's been wonderful to play in. But the thought I want to throw out just as a last gotcha is letting go of things that don't serve us. When are you going to let go of playing smaller than you really are? So many people out there, I've done it myself, and I'm sure most of us on the stage have done that. We play smaller than we really are. We think that we can't do things. We think we're not able to have things. We think we're not big enough, good enough, whatever that is. When you're willing to let go of that crap, it doesn't serve us anymore. So
I think we just found a topic for next week. How do we limit ourselves? How do we limit ourselves? Yeah. I think that's next week's topic. Barry, thank you. That's brilliant.
Can I make a suggestion there?
Yes.
How about how do we maximize ourselves?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Let's take it to the positive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's max out.
Let's take it to the positive.
Max out.
And I like that. I'm going to say that. How do we max out? I love that. That's our topic next week. Okay.
Ed Milet.
Thank you so much, Barry. Flo.
Thank you guys for asking me to be here. I'm honored and I'm grateful for this.
Love you.
Some great takeaways. When Scott, you had said brain dump, I just went right to journaling. I'm like, why don't I journal more? Dang. But that helps too. I mean, I try to do it through meditation, but gosh, just lots of things, to take away from this conversation. So thankful and grateful. So.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Excellent.
And beautiful Dr. Kristy.
Hi. So I first of all want to say I'm grateful for being here as well. And I always say it takes a collective to heal and change the collective. So I love being a part of this and just sharing and really thank you. And the other logistical thing I want to say is please just call me Kristy. I hate the doctor thing and
Okay.
you know, my mother, when I got my doctoral degree, my mother told me that she was going to call me doctor all the time, everywhere we went from that moment on. And I said to her, don't you dare. And she said, Kristy, you busted your ass for 9.5 years.
Yeah.
Own it. And I thought, no, I can't. No, I can't. And it's so funny that the idea of playing small just got brought up. But anyway, point is, please just call me Kristy. I promise I own my title, but I would love to.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Kristy, I have merchandise being made. We're going to have Dr. Kristy on our shirt.
Yeah, there we go.
No, we're not. We're going to call you by what you earned. That's a big deal.
Oh my gosh. Well,
oh my gosh.
I just, when I was, thinking about last words, something that I include in my morning, I have a morning ritual that I do every morning. I call it my morning anchor point. I do this for myself. I teach it to clients. It's a practice that saved my life. And, it involves meditation, contemplation, movement, journaling, all of that. But when I set my intentions and my invocations, some might call it prayer. I just kind of call it invocation. What I say every morning is, Spirit, please fill me with the courage and the discipline to be a free spirit. And that intention has helped me so much with letting go. Can I free myself? Do I have the courage and discipline to just be myself, to let everyone else be themselves, and just allow life to unfold organically? So I just wanted to share that prayer.
That's
I
amazing.
love that.
Love that.
Thank you.
Now,
Who's
Rex.
next? The fickle finger of fate.
It's going to become this in a minute.
Super.
I love you, Rex.
I know. Thank you kindly. I'm here all week. And
So what is that with the two fingers? That's in India. That's for you and your cow.
for me and my proctologist. And,
yeah, there you go.
I just want to say, it's an honor to be here with everyone, and there were such powerful and wonderful shares that each and every person shared tonight, as they do each week, and people will be, well served if they share this out, listen to this program, and send it to their friends, because it's an important topic by some brilliant minds. I'm going to go full circle to Lynn's. Rex is doing something somewhere sometime thing, and say that I am a speaker at the Neuroscience Summit coming up the 20th through the 23rd. I'll be talking with my friends Mark Victor Hansen, Mitzi Purdue, and others, as well as I'll be giving a talk on how can you tell the genuine from the not so genuine. And so there's that. And then also the NLP Masters Summit comes up, I think, the 27th through the 2nd of November. I'm speaking on that along with about 30 other people, but I'm speaking on new behavior generator and how we can generate new changes and make things work that weren't working before, especially if you know anything about neurolinguistic programming. So those are two summits, both weekends. But it is the LA Tribune is sponsoring the first one. And if you want to go, you can find that on Facebook, or you can find it through my profile or whatever. But again, going back to the topic and the people here, I feel blessed to be here with everyone and I'm humbled by everyone I get to be with. So thank you kindly.
I love you, Rex. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
And the one and only
B.O.B.
One, I just want to say that letting go is not ever partially. If you've let go, you've let go. It's not partially. So to say I've let go of something and to keep bringing it back up, you didn't let go of it.
Mm.
It's I asked a good friend of mine whose son was murdered delivering pizza. I think I've shared with some of you guys. Delivering pizza is killed by a 14-year-old gangbanger, and his 21-year-old son was murdered. And I asked him one day, he's been sequestered with the Pope. He's taught all over the world about forgiveness. And I asked him, I said, do you ever feel angry towards that individual? Does it ever come up? And he goes, no, that's how I know I've forgiven him. If it ever comes up, I haven't forgiven him. And I thought, man, that's huge. But so it's that mastering the art of forgiving yourself and others, and then to realize that it's not one and done. Yeah. You may have to do it multiple times, and you probably will have to do it multiple times. It's not one and done.
I love
Letting
that.
go is not ever going to be one and done.
Wow.
Love that. Wow.
Absolutely.
And now you, Mr. Scott Jonesy?
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I mean, everything that was said is fantastic. The whole getting into the idea of forgiveness and understanding it doesn't do any good to bury the hatchet if you're going to put a grave marker there and visit it all the time. My thought on not just letting go is not forgetting. Letting go is to no longer fear and no longer have judgment against what has happened, but to be able to look back on it as a lesson, as a learning tool, as something is a part of your story, as certainly, but it no longer affects you in that way. It's letting go of allowing those things to change us. And you guys are brilliant. If 18 years has taught me anything, it's about stop being a victim of everything else. Stop pretending that you have no control in your life and start taking control and doing what you can do. So I'm excited about next week's topic about maximizing, because I think that's huge. I think we spend enough time on the negative. Let's talk some positive now. But I love you guys. I love all of you. And the people who left early, screw you. No, I'm kidding. No, I know he's busy. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I got to get over to his class.
I love all you guys. And Lynn, as always, you put people together in a way that rarely do people do what you do to put people together like this. I think the only time I've seen a mixture of people like this was when I was locked up for a short time in a mental institution.
Well, I feel.
Thank you, Lynn. That's true.
You guys laugh because most of you were in the next room. I know it. I heard you.
Well, if you're going to be nutty, you got to find the right friends to be around. And so right. You guys have all been handpicked by me. And I thank you for that. Which, by the way, before we leave, I'm super excited to say that Debbie and I are going to have a pop-up here soon. And we got some fun things to talk about and get to see a few people. So look out for that. And Scott's going to do his other show here in a half an hour. So check that out.
Get the popcorn.
Yep. And
and regular person Kristy, please come back.
Regular.
I didn't say doctor. Regular person Kristy, please come back.
Yes. And I may next week or the following week, we might use a new platform temporarily. I don't really want to use it because they have their branding on it and I'd rather not have the branding on it. So that's what's holding me back. But it's a real good program. They're just new. And so it needs to be fine-tuned. So look out for a different kind of invitation. So we'll see. All right, you guys, this is where we say goodbye. Thank you so much, Scott Jones, Barry Selby, Debbie Bettendorf, Rex Sikes, Bob Donnell, Flo Mina, and Kristy Vanacore.
I'm calling her Doctor.
Bracket Doctor. We had a doctor in the house. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about how do we max out.
Keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to